Okay, we continue with the current density in intrinsic semiconductors. So for conductors, I told you already how to arrive at J is equal to sigma E. So I stopped at VD equal to mu n into E, and I is equal to NQ by T. Okay, so from current density of conductors, we got finally J is equal to sigma into E, where sigma is the conductivity of conductor and J is the current density, E is the applied electric field. So by using we use that expression to derive the current density in intrinsic semiconductors. Okay, so we already know J is equal to sigma into E. Okay. So sigma is conductivity of the material. Here, so sigma is equal to nq mu n plus pq mu p. Okay. So what is nq mu n is nothing. N is electron concentration. Q is the charge of the electron. Mu n is the mobility of the electron, and where p is the hole concentration. Q is the charge of the hole. Mu p is the mobility of holes. Okay. So if you see for intrinsic semiconductors, the electron concentration is equal to hole concentration, that is equal to Ni, that is intrinsic carrier concentration. Okay, so if you substitute N is equal to P is equal to Ni, the J current density becomes J is equal to Ni times Q into mu n into E plus Ni times Q into mu P into E. So here if you take Ni into Q into E common, so that is J becomes mu n plus mu P into Ni into Q into E. Mu n is the mobility of the electrons, mu p is the mobility of holes, Ni is the intrinsic carrier concentration, Q is the, so charge, for electron or hole, the charge is same, Q is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs, where capital E is the applied electric field. Okay, so this is how we arrived at current density of intrinsic semiconductors by using current density of conductors. So we can also use the current density of means normal semiconductor. So if it is normal semiconductor, what is the current density? So there N is not equal to P, that is not equal to Ni. Okay, if it is intrinsic semiconductor, N is equal to P is equal to Ni. If it is normal semiconductor, we can't say N is equal to P. Okay, so there it is J is equal to NQ mu n into E plus PQ mu P into E. If it is intrinsic semiconductor, in place of N and P, N is equal to P is equal to Ni we have to put. Okay, so this is about current density in intrinsic semiconductors. Okay, so next we will see basic problems related to intrinsic semiconductors. Okay, so first problem, that is what is given, the intrinsic carrier density is equal to 1.5 into 10 power 16 per meter cube. If the mobility of electron and holes are 0.13 and 0.05 meter square per volt second, and calculate the conductivity. So by giving intrinsic carrier concentration and mobility of electron and hole, he is asking you to calculate the conductivity. So what is given? Intrinsic carrier concentration, how much? 1.5 into 10 power 16 per meter cube. Okay, and what mu n, that is mobility of electrons, it is given as 0.13 meter square per volt second. Mu p, that is mobility of hole, it is given as 0.05 meter square per volt second. Okay, so once you know intrinsic carrier concentration and mobility of electron and hole, we can easily find conductivity of the material. From the previous slide, if you observe, J is equal to sigma E, where sigma is equal to mu n plus mu p into Ni into Q. So by using that formula, that is sigma is equal to Ni into Q into mu n plus mu p. So where Ni is equal to 1.5 into 10 power 16. Q, that is charge of electron or hole, that is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, and mu n is equal to 0.13, mu p is equal to 0.15. If you put all these values in sigma, you will get sigma is equal to 4.32 into 10 power minus 4. The units already we know in the video lecture 1 itself. I told you the units for sigma, that is conductivity are. ohm centimeter inverse. If it is resistivity, the units are ohm centimeter. Okay. So we'll see one more problem. So here the intrinsic carrier density at room temperature in germanium is 2.37 into 10 power 19 per meter cube. If the electron and hole mobilities are 0.38 and 0.18 meter square per volt second, the meter square per volt second is are units for mobility. Okay. Uh, and is asking you to calculate the resistivity of the material, that is germanium. Okay, so what is given here, if you clearly means read the problem, the given things are like intrinsic carrier concentration of the germanium, it is given as 2.37 into 10 power 19 per meter cube, or meter cube in power minus 3. Okay, if the the electron mobility is given as 0.38 meter square per volt second, the whole mobility is given as 0.18 meter square per volt second. So already we know from the previous slide, J is equal to sigma E, where sigma is equal to Ni into Q into mu N plus mu P. Ni is intrinsic carrier concentration, Q is the charge of the electron or hole, that is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Mu N is mobility of electron, mu P is mobility of hole. Okay, if you put all those things in the formula, that is sigma, so that is Ni is given as 2.37 into 10 power 19, where Q, it is already we know 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, and mu N is 0.38, mu P is 0.18. If you put all those values, you will get sigma as 2.1235. The units are ohm centimeter inverse. So once you know conductivity, you can easily find resistivity. Why? Because resistivity is equal to 1 by conductivity. So when you put sigma value in rho, that is rho is equal to 1 by sigma. So you will get rho as 0.4709 ohm centimeter. The units for the resistivity are ohm centimeter. Okay, so these are very basic problems related to intrinsic semiconductors. So this is about intrinsic semiconductors. So in intrinsic semiconductor, we saw means what is intrinsic semiconductor, what are the standard examples for intrinsic semiconductors. They are silicon and germanium. Okay, so we also looked at what is the electron configuration, and before that we also saw what is the atomic numbers of silicon and germanium. For silicon it is 14, for germanium it is 32. And moreover, we also looked at energy band diagram of intrinsic semiconductors, and also we saw covalent bonding in both silicon and germanium. Okay, and also we looked at how conduction occurs in intrinsic semiconductors. So already we know, we discussed we saw at low temperatures the intrinsic semiconductor acts as insulator. Why? Because electrons in conduction band, valency band, they can't move into conduction band. But as increased temperature of intrinsic semiconductor, the more and more electrons they starts moving from conduction band to the valency band to the conduction band. So as the number of free electrons increases in conduction band, the conductivity of the material, the conductivity of the intrinsic semiconductor increases. As the conductivity of the intrinsic semiconductor increases, the resistivity of the intrinsic semiconductor decreases. And also we saw how to derive expression for current density in intrinsic semiconductors. To derive a expression for current density in intrinsic semiconductor, we use current density relation of pure conductor. There the current density relation is J is equal to sigma E. So here if it is normal semiconductor, sigma is equal to NQ mu N plus PQ mu P. N is electron concentration, small n. P is Q is charge of electron, mu N is mobility of electron, where small p is the hole concentration, Q is the charge of hole, mu p is the mobility of hole. Okay, by using this, for already we know, we clearly discussed that for intrinsic semiconductors, the carrier concentration n is equal to p is equal to ni. So moreover, we saw one more thing that in intrinsic semiconductor, the charge carriers are holes and electrons. That's why the total current in intrinsic semiconductor is equal to current due to electrons plus current due to holes. Moreover, we also clearly observed one more thing, like when you apply some electric field, external electric field to the, intrinsic semiconductor, the holes are moving in the direction of applied electric field, whereas electrons moving in the direction opposite to the applied electric field. In that way, we can say the electrons and holes are moving opposite to each other. So we also observe one more thing, like I told you already, n is equal to p is equal to ni. That is because when you apply some temperature or some thermal energy, the electrons in valency band, they move into conduction band. If one electron moves from valency band to the conduction band, there will be one vacant space. That vacant space is nothing but a hole present in valency band. Suppose if it is 15 electrons moving from valency band to the conduction band, there will be 15 vacant spaces in valency band. Those vacant spaces are nothing but holes. So suppose we are having, let us say some 100 free electrons in conduction band, there will be 100 holes present in valency band. In that way, we can say the carrier concentration n is equal to p is equal to ni for intrinsic semiconductors. And also we saw some two basic problems related to intrinsic semiconductors. So this is about intrinsic semiconductors. So in the next we will see the properties of silicon and germanium. Silicon and germanium, they are the best examples for intrinsic semiconductors. Moreover, the silicon and germanium, they are having each, both belongs to 4th group elements. The valency shell or the outermost shell of silicon and germanium, they are having 4 electrons. Okay. So now we will see some important properties related to silicon and germanium. Okay. In this slide, if you see what is the number of atoms per centimeter cube. If it is silicon, the value is 5 into 10 power 22. So if it is germanium, the value is 4.42 into 10 power 22. Next we will see next property is atomic weight. The atomic weight of silicon is 28.09. The atomic weight of germanium is it is around 72.60. Okay. Next property is breakdown field. So the breakdown field for silicon is approximately about 3 into 10 power 5. For germanium, it is approximately about 1 into 10 power 5. So the breakdown field is more for silicon compared to germanium, whereas number of atoms per centimeter cube is more for silicon compared to germanium. The atomic weight is more for germanium compared to silicon. Next we will see crystal structure from covalent bonding figure. We can say the crystal structure is diamond. Why? Because it is having 4 electrons in the outermost or valency shell. From there we can say the crystal structure is diamond, both for silicon and germanium. Why? Because both are having 4 electrons in its valency shell or outermost shell. So next property is like density. So the density units are like grams per centimeter cube. For the silicon, the density is 2.328. For germanium, the density is 5.3267. So the density is more for means by observation we can say the density is more for germanium, that is 5.3267 compared to silicon. For silicon, it is 2.328 only. Okay. So next we will see next property is dielectric constant. So the dielectric constant is for silicon it is 11.9. For germanium it is 16.0. So if you observe these two, the dielectric constant is more for germanium, that is 16.0, when compared with the silicon. For silicon it is only 11.9. So next property is effective density of states in the conduction band. So that is defined as NC. Effective density states in the conduction band, NC. The units are per centimeter cube. So for germanium, the effective density is 2.8 into 10 power minus 19, 10 power 19. For germanium, it is 1.04 into 10 power 19. So if you observe the effective density of states in conduction band, NC is more for silicon, that is 2.8 into 10 power 19, compared with the germanium. For germanium, it is only 1.04 into 10 power 19. Okay, so I mean in the previous property, that is for conduction band. Now effective density of states in valency band, okay, that is NV. So the units are per centimeter cube only, same as effective density of states in conduction band. So if you observe this one, this is mole for germanium. For germanium, it is mole for silicon only. For silicon, it is 1.04 into 10 power 19, whereas for germanium, 6 into 10 power 18. Okay, so this is about effective density of states in conduction and valency band. Okay, so next, if we see next property, that is electron affinity. So electron affinity is I mean the units are volts. Electron affinity for germanium and silicon both are more or less same. For germanium it is 4 volts. For silicon it is 4.05. So the electron affinity is more or less same for both silicon and germanium. So next property. So next property is energy band gap or energy gap. So already we saw for the semiconductors, the energy band gap or forbidden gap is around 1 electron volt. So the same thing we will see here. So the energy gap at 300 Kelvin, that is already we know the energy gap, the units are electron volts. At 300 Kelvin, the energy gap for silicon is 1.12. For germanium, it is 0.66. So from this, you can clearly observe. In general, for our analysis, we use it as 1.2 and 0.7, like approximately. Okay, so from this property, you can observe that energy gap is more for silicon, that is 1.12, compared with germanium, that is 0.66 at 300 Kelvin. So next property is intrinsic carrier concentration. So intrinsic carrier concentration Ni. So the units are per centimeter cube. So the intrinsic carrier concentration for silicon is 1.45 into 10 power 10. For germanium it is 2.4 into 10 power 13. So intrinsic carrier concentration is more for germanium compared to silicon. For germanium it is 2.4 into 10 power 13. For silicon it is 1.45 into 10 power 10. Next, that's about intrinsic carrier concentration. The units are per centimeter cube. Next, intrinsic Debye length. So that is the units are microns. So for silicon it is 24. For germanium it is 0.68. So this property is this is more for silicon, that is 24, compared with germanium. For germanium it is 0.68 only. For silicon it is 24. Okay. Next property, intrinsic resistivity. So already we know the resistivity units are ohm centimeters. If it is silicon, the resistivity is 2.3 into 10 power 5. So for germanium it is only 47. From this we can say the conductivity is very less for silicon compared to germanium. Why? Because the resistivity is very high for silicon, that is 2.3 into 10 power 5, compared to germanium. For germanium it is only 47. Okay, so why we are saying, how we are saying conductivity is less for silicon? Because the conductivity is inversely proportional to resistivity. When the resistivity is more, conductivity is less. When the conductivity is less, resistivity is more, or you can say when the resistivity is less, conductivity is more. Okay, that's about intrinsic resistivity of silicon and germanium. Next, we'll see lattice constant. So lattice constant, the units are Armstrongs. Okay. So for silicon it is 5.43095. For germanium it is 5.64613. So this lattice constant is more or less same for both germanium and silicon. The silicon it is 5.43. For germanium it is 5.64 around. Okay, next we'll see next property, that is linear coefficient of thermal expansion. So linear coefficient of thermal expansion, if for silicon it is 2.6 into 10 power minus 6. For germanium it is 5.8 into 10 power minus 6. It is more or less same, means small difference is there for silicon and germanium. So that's about linear coefficient of thermal expansion. Next, melting point of silicon and germanium. So the melting point, the units are degrees centigrade. So for silicon, the melting point is 1415 degrees centigrade. For germanium, it is for 937. So by observation, we can say the germanium is having low melting point compared to silicon. Germanium it is 937. For silicon, it is 1415 degrees centigrade. Next we will see minority carrier lifetime. So units are seconds. So minority carrier lifetime for silicon it is 2.5 into 10 power minus 3. If it is for germanium, 10 power minus 3. Minority carrier lifetime is more for silicon compared to germanium. Okay. We'll continue with some more properties. Next property is mobility. Okay, so mobility is different for holes and electrons. Okay, in general, the mobility of electrons is more compared to the mobility of holes. Okay, so if you see for the mobility of electrons, the units are a centimeter square per volt second. So for silicon, the mobility is 1500. For germanium, it is 3900. So from this, we can observe the for germanium, the mobility of electrons is more compared to mobility of electrons for silicon. For silicon 1500, for germanium 3900. Okay. Next, mobility of holes. So here also units are same, that is centimeter square per volt second. So for silicon, the mobility of holes is 475. The mobility of holes for germanium is 1900. So here also you can easily observe the mobility of holes for germanium is more compared to the mobility of holes of silicon. Germanium 1900, silicon 475. Next, optical photon energy, electron volts. Okay, the units are electron volts. So the optical photon energy for silicon it is 0.063. For germanium it is 0.037. So this is more for silicon compared to germanium. Next, photon mean free path. Okay, so this is for silicon it is 76 for electrons and 55 for holes. For germanium it is same for both electron and holes, that is 105. Okay, next, specific heat. So this is for silicon it is 0.7. For germanium it is 0.31. Okay, next one, thermal conductivity. Okay, at 300 Kelvin. So if for silicon it is 1.5. For germanium it is 0.6. So the thermal conductivity is more for silicon compared to germanium. For silicon it is 1.5. For germanium it is 0.6. Next, thermal diffusivity. So this is for silicon 0.9. For germanium it is 0.36. So this property is more for silicon compared to germanium. Next, vapor pressure. So this is 1 at 1650 degrees centigrade and 10 power minus 6 at 900 degrees centigrade. For germanium it is 1 at 1330 degrees centigrade and 10 power minus 6 at 760 degrees centigrade. So these are some of the properties are we covered most of the properties of silicon and germanium. Okay, so the silicon and germanium, they are best examples for intrinsic semiconductors. And so here we saw properties like atoms, atomic weight, intrinsic carrier concentration, mobility of electrons, mobility of holes, and effective density of states in conduction band, effective density of states in valency band, melting point, and resistivity, thermal conductivity. Likewise, more or less, we saw many properties of silicon and germanium in this lecture. So that's about properties of silicon and germanium. Okay, so in this lecture too, I covered intrinsic semiconductors and properties of silicon and germanium. Okay, so in next lecture we'll cover, we'll discuss about, extrinsic semiconductors, that is especially p-type and n-type. Okay, thank you.